Reynish. Some great memories there of times gone by here in Medicine Hat. It can't be denied, though, that 2020 was a difficult year for many of us. It was a year that many will never forget, but doesn't quite warrant a look back. At this time of year, we want good times, happy memories, people sharing stories, maybe even some embarrassing ones, stories that all happened during Christmas time. So that's what we have for you over the next hour. Welcome to Chat News Holiday Memories. And with one final bulb, the tree is complete. Welcome to my Christmas living room set in the lobby of the Media Center here in Redcliffe to film Chat News Holiday Memories. And nobody else I would start with other than my on-air partner, because I knew he would wear that sweater.
Yes.
Scott Roblin, everybody. Happy holidays, buddy.
Happy holidays. How's it going?
It's going great. That picture has been, for at least the last year, your Facebook photo on your Facebook profile photo. So the story behind that is not just they're your favorite tea.
No. It's just I stumbled upon it at Valley Village one day and had to have it. It was a must-have. And the reason why I've kept that as my Facebook photo for well over a year is there are no other better photos. Like you can't get better than a Calgary Flames Christmas sweater vest. Like the vest elevates it to a different level than just a Christmas sweater. Right?
It isn't just a ugly Christmas sweater or amazing Christmas sweater. It's an amazing sweater vest.
Yes, it takes it up a notch.
You totally look like Chandler Bing on all of those Friends Christmas episodes. It looks great. It looks great. So Christmas to you, the holidays to you, is this a meaningful time for you? And I don't just mean because of the World Junior Hockey Tournaments.
Well, that adds a little bit of extra meaning for sure. 100%. It's definitely probably our family's biggest celebration annually. Especially my mom is such a huge Christmas fan. She goes crazy every year with decorating the house and getting a tree. I do have to say they stopped getting a real tree about 2.5 years ago. So we got the fake tree now, which it's not quite as fun for me, but I guess less care for them. But no, it's an important holiday for our entire family, and we've had a few over the past couple of years where we've gotten a lot of people together, a lot of extended families, so it's a very important holiday for us.
Were you a sleep-in Christmas morning person, or were you a 4 or 5 in the morning person, Mom, Dad, can we open everything?
So especially as a kid, I was very much, Mom, Dad, let's open everything, let's get everybody up at 6 o'clock or whatever. And then I got into high school and enjoyed sleeping a lot more, and so then we started to push the start a little bit later in the day. Now it's more like 9 o'clock, but it's not the 6 a.m. wake-ups that the parents were used to. I'll let them sleep in a little bit.
I remember the first year I called my sister's house on Christmas morning, and they were all still sleeping, and this was like 9 o'clock. Let them get up early, let them do. But at 9 o'clock, the kids, my nephews and niece, were still sleeping, and I was shocked by the fact that they weren't up at 5 o'clock. When it comes to Christmas gifts, do you look back fondly on something that you've received as your biggest Christmas memory, or something that you've given as a Christmas present?
Oh, that's a good question. There's been a few that have been pretty meaningful. Probably the one that's meant the most to me was my brother handmade a guitar for me. Like it was basically a Telecaster model-ish. He formed it from like 3 or 4 different guitars, and I still have it, and it's still one of my most prized possessions, just this guitar that he made for me. And along with that, I've always kind of liked thinking outside the box a little bit for Christmas presents. So, a couple years back, I got my dad third base from the ALCS for Toronto Blue Jays, which I know you'll appreciate.
I want that.
And it's a lot of gifts where you put some thought into it. It gets harder as the years go on, but no, there's definitely a lot, and all of us in the family have unique interests and specific interests. So try to play towards that. But
now, regarding Christmas 2020, is there any gift that you would like more more than a Calgary Flame blasty jersey?
Well, if you asked me that probably about 2 months ago, I would have said, oh, you know, there's a bunch of things that I may have wanted, but I mean, that's number one, 100%.
Well, I hope you get that. I'd like to say I have one for you here, but
oh, I was hoping for it.
No, sorry, buddy. But listen, it's great. It's great. Hopefully next year we're back on the desk again,
Yes,
instead of
100%.
just
It's been a long time.
always having to look at you, even though you're sitting on to my side, but I have to look straight into the camera. So here's to getting back on the desk, and happy holidays to you and your family.
Yeah, to you and yours.
I don't think we've ever actually met.
No, first time.
This is the news director here at Chat Television. This is my boss. So I have to interview my boss about Christmas. So how do you think I should start then? Or do you want me to start, or do you want to start?
You start.
Okay. So you and I have known each other for 20 years. We have spent many a Christmas together. But only recently your Christmases have become awesome, because your kids at Christmas are fantastic. Do you think of your own Christmas childhood now, or do you think of theirs?
I think of both, actually. I think Christmas was such a magical time for me growing up. I loved every minute of it. When we worked together in Saskatchewan, it was the one holiday out of all the holidays in the year that I absolutely wanted to be home for. So now it's just passing that on to my kids and getting them to experience the magic of Christmas, and it's just amazing to see it already.
Are you trying to recreate the Christmases you had as a kid? Or are you trying to give them their own, or is that another both question?
We kind of do both. A lot of the traditions that we had as a family, we've carried over with my children. We love decorating the tree together. The girls have been doing it for a couple years now. They're just about 4. But it's kind of funny to see them decorate the tree, because I used to be very OCD about the decorations being perfectly placed. And when you have kids,
never decorated your tree.
it's probably a good thing, because you know how
never touch her tree.
Very stressed.
Never.
So it's kind of funny, because they have all the decorations at the bottom of the tree, and actually my one daughter pretty much rearranges the decorations every day. But it's something we love to do as a family. Looking at Christmas lights, not something we did a lot growing up, but something we've been doing with the kids. We started doing it last year. They loved it. We're continuing on that this year. We've already gone out a couple times, drove around looking at all the lights. Some people have done a fantastic job in this community, so it's been really fun to just get to see the spirit of Christmas through their eyes.
I told you a few months ago about a tradition that our family did every year, and I think you're going to steal it. In our house, Christmas Eve was always, you were allowed to open one present that was under the tree. We had a bath. My sisters and I each had a bath, and we got brand new pajamas, and then we could open one gift. And when I told you about that, I could tell you were going to take that Reynish family tradition.
I think that's a great tradition. We never did that growing up. It was always Christmas morning. You always opened presents Christmas morning. Christmas Eve was going to church and visiting with family. So yeah, I think it's really something that I want to do for the kids. It'll kind of get them really excited for Christmas. Not that they already aren't, but it'll just be, it's a neat idea. Just kind of give them one gift to open on Christmas Eve. So.
Okay, so what was your favorite gift? Let's talk about you for a second. What is the best thing you ever remember getting for Christmas from either Santa Claus or your mom and dad?
Santa usually did pretty good, I would say. So I can remember getting a fancy dollhouse one year that I absolutely loved. I also remember getting a Nintendo, Super Mario and Duck Hunt. That really dates me, but that was pretty cool that year too. I don't know.
This year for Christmas, I wanted to get you something special. So please welcome your first ever pony.
Woohoo!
I never got her a pony. I'm just kidding.
I always wanted a pony.
I know
at
you
Christmas.
never got a pony.
I never got a pony.
Well, here's hoping you get a pony eventually.
I hope so.
Merry Christmas to you, the kids, and Ryan. The Media Center doesn't just house television. We also have 2 great radio stations here, Chat 94.5 and My 96. And you might recognize, once he starts talking, because you don't know what he looks like, you might recognize Sean from My 96, mornings from 6 until 10. And once you do start speaking, you have a noticeable accent. So are you from Cape Breton?
It's close. It's close. It's just a couple of clicks away. Australian born, but here, of course, a lot of people often think that I'm British because of the base here, British dad, so it is Australian though. We'll get that clear off the bat.
Okay, Australian, which means a white Christmas was probably something you never experienced until you came to Canada 16 years ago.
It was something that I didn't even understand. So we get like the image of Santa, all the full, warm, fuzzy suit, all the Christmas carols, the white Christmas, the dashing through the snow, and we just used to sing them without even thinking about it, while it is 35 degrees and blazing hot.
So, dancing in a winter wonderland, I'm dreaming of a white Christmas. Are there Australian Christmas songs?
There weren't for a long time. There are a couple recently, a couple of kids groups. There's one, Santa Wear Your Shorts, which was a nice version. They have come up with a new image, which is the full kind of top, but with a pair of board shorts on as well. Just for that, leg of the journey.
Can you don't sing more than 30 seconds or would have to pay for it. Can you give us the tone?
I surprisingly cannot. It was, I can give you White Christmas.
Yeah.
Because that were the ones that I grew up with. It was more of it was probably only came out 10 years ago, so it's past my prime.
Do you miss Australian Christmas? I mean, you've been here long enough that Canada's your home. You have Christmas here, but do you miss Australian Christmas?
I do, because it's, that's the childhood memories, is the Australian Christmas. And I do miss the weather around Christmas time, because our tradition was always a Christmas morning barbecue. So we'd be out on the deck, it'd be bacon, sausage, eggs, tomato, mushroom, couple of mimosas, sitting out in the sunshine, enjoying a breakfast barbecue the whole time.
Have you tried that in Canada?
I have not. There are plans to do an adaptation of that this year, which could be that, but inside.
Yeah. So other than that, what is a great Christmas memory? What is one that has stuck with you all these years, or even a recent one?
I mean, my best one, without doubt, was going home for my first Christmas home. Since I'd moved to Canada, I hadn't been home for Christmas for 13 years. So it was a pretty big, it's a really big family time.
Yeah.
And to miss so many of them, mainly because our friends at the airlines enjoy price gouging around that time of year.
I've never heard of that.
It's very
Really?
strange. And to get you to the other side of the world, it was just, completely ridiculous. So, and eventually just kind of saved up in 13 years to spend. I've got a niece and nephew that I'd never spent Christmas with, and spending it with the whole family, the first one back, and bringing back all of those traditions, like having that barbecue, doing all the things we would do, sitting around for, we still do the kind of dinner thing as well. Mum suffers in the kitchen while it's 35 and she's cooking a turkey for 4 hours. But that one is the highlight for sure.
That's a benefit of Thanksgiving and Christmas in Canada. It's never 35 degrees when mom's in the kitchen all day.
Yeah, it's much nicer. And we started to do seafood as another big one as well. People will do that, but we still like the turkey because we don't have Thanksgiving either. So we only get one shot to have a turkey every year.
You added seafood. Oddly enough, that's usually how I act around Christmas. I'm on a seafood diet. I seafood, I eat it.
It is a big part of it.
Yeah.
And I mean, that was the other thing too. I've done a lot of Christmases over here where it's mainly been me preparing a dinner or with some friends.
Yeah.
It just doesn't ever taste the same as mum doing it.
No, and it never will.
No.
Is Merry Christmas what is said back home?
It was last time I was there.
Okay. So Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Thanks for joining us.
Merry Christmas to you, Dan.
Welcome back to Chat News Holiday Memories. I'm Dan Reynish, and I'm here with my colleague Tiffany Goodwin, who is spending her very first Christmas here in Medicine Hat after joining us April? When did you start?
February.
February. See?
Remember February?
I do. I remember February. We're filming this in the lobby of the media center, and you came right into this door, and this is where we met right here for the very first time.
Yeah.
And I have to say, when you said what you were thinking about what you were going to do for Christmas this year, I'm very, very impressed that you would do something like this. Tell people what you're doing for Christmas. What are you going to be doing?
Yeah, so this New Year's Eve, I decided to volunteer at the Mustard Seed.
Wow.
As you know, on Thanksgiving, I did a story there just about, Thanksgiving for them and giving out the meals. And when I was shooting it, I was so moved just by them receiving a meal and how much it meant to them, and just seeing the staff and talk to them and how much it meant to them. And so this Christmas, since I'm spending it alone, I just figured, heck, why not? Why not go and volunteer with an organization? So I picked the Mustard Seed because I never felt so moved before doing a story. Like, I literally, watching that line and seeing the need, I was literally on the verge of tears. And you're not supposed to cry when you're a reporter at all. Like, you're supposed to be very neutral. And it was just really, really touching to just see how many people there were that were in need. Because, as you know, as reporters, we do stories on, agencies all the time and fundraising, and, we serve this many people. But to actually see it, it's a completely different reality, and it really, really sets in. And yeah, I was just so touched and so moved. So I just thought, why not? What the heck?
It's fantastic that you're doing it. The work that you do is going to make our community better and help the less fortunate. So thank you for doing that. But before I let you go, I also want to talk to you about Santa and the Christmas alpaca.
Yes.
Hope the alpaca. When you were doing that story with Santa Claus and all these kids meeting this beautiful little alpaca for the first time, what was your takeaway from that story?
Honestly, literally, that hope can come in all kinds of forms. As tacky as that seems, and I know that sounds really, really tacky.
No, it doesn't. It sounds great.
But to just see the children and see how happy they were, because this year has been, as you know, a year like no other, and just to see the kids' joy when they saw hope. I wanted to take hope home, to be honest, but I have nowhere to put it. So
No, I'm glad you didn't, but I'm glad you introduced us to hope. So it's good to have you here on the team this year.
Thank you,
Happy
Dan.
holidays, and let's hope hope is in our lives, whether in alpaca or real form, a lot next year. Hey, we're here with Alex McQuaig, reporter at Chat News, family man, personable gentleman, Christmas stories to share. There's so many questions that I could ask you about Christmas because of your life and your life as a father. What would you like me to ask you about Christmas?
Well, for me, Christmas was always about the kids.
Okay.
It was always about just toys under the Christmas tree, this just absolute just love and affection from adults. My sister and I both were, when we were young, our parents were fairly modest, but they always went all out and made sure our Christmas was great.
Wow.
And so, I mean, that's something, Christmas to me is about the kids. With my son Ewan now, I mean, it's very much an important part. I hadn't had a Christmas tree for quite a few years before we had Ewan, and we started a new Christmas tradition this year by getting our own tree from the Cypress Hills.
Yeah.
And, it's just fun with kids.
So do you feel with your son now that you need to do Christmas better than your parents did it, or are you just trying to equal what they gave you?
I'm trying to equal. I mean, they were Christmas was a big time of year for my sister and I, where it was just unconditional love from our parents. It was always the best time of year. It was, my parents went all out, making sure my sister and I were treated just beyond well.
Wow. Is there one gift or one thing that you remember that either you got from your sister or from your parents that you were thinking, I wish I still had this today?
Well, my Star Wars toys.
Yes, oh my gosh, they're worth so much money, aren't they?
Yeah, so I mean, I had a for years. I had it for years. A Chewbacca doll.
Okay.
So I think I got that in the Christmas of 1978, and I took it with me everywhere. I even took it in the bath with me a few times, to the point where I found out it went missing a few years later, maybe 5 years later. It went missing. I still had it with me all the time.
Yeah.
I found out as an adult my parents actually got rid of it because it got a little mangy.
Sometimes it's Chewbacca that goes off to the farm in the countryside to live. Sometimes it's the family pet. Yeah. Bottom line is, may the Christmas spirit be with you once again this year. Thanks for this, Alex.
Thanks a lot, Dan. Merry Christmas.
Welcome back to Chat News Christmas Memories. Our next guest is the general sales manager, the only person in this building that dresses as swanky as I do on a daily basis, Mr. Stephen Pudwell. That's a jacket, my friend.
I needed a little Christmas color, right? So
Yeah.
I was like, I couldn't find my Christmas tie, so I thought, I think I got a bright jacket that I could put on.
I had to decide which tie to choose from. I went with the Santa Claus one.
Hey, it's a safe bet going with Santa Claus.
Christmas memories. Have you got any?
Yeah, I have a few. It's kind of funny, like you're trying to pick one that kind of stands out, but I guess it was a reoccurring story that happened every Christmas. My youngest daughter, ever since she was able to realize what Christmas was all about, she was the first kid up, I think, in Medicine Hat. And so
3 a.m.,
excited
4
about,
a.m.?
yeah, we're talking
Okay.
5 a.m. and walking in and pulling on Dad to say, hey, it's time, can we open?
Yeah.
I want to get you what did Santa Claus bring me? I want to show you my present that I got you. And then it's where am I? What am I doing? I'm waking up at 5 in the morning and I'm like, honey, you have to go back to sleep. But I can't, Dad. So then I have an older daughter that was 5 years older, and then she became the in-charge person for my youngest come Christmas morning. So it had to be all filtered, and then the rule was, you know what, at 8 o'clock, we'll get up, 8:30, we'll meet you at the tree, kind of thing.
See, I got to follow that up with my sisters and I would also get up really early. And the parents would always say, go back to bed, I'm not getting up at 5 o'clock. Why not just get up?
Well, then Christmas is over too fast.
Okay.
Like you work so hard to bring Christmas together, the planning, the meals, the stuff under the tree, making sure people are recognized, talking to grandmas and grandpas and family and friends, and it's that whole thing of, you know what, I got to take a little bit of time to make sure that everyone knows that what Christmas is truly about is about family and being together. And realizing, the shiny stuff's fun, but it's more about creating the memories, and that's that stuff today. Like I said, my youngest, she's 25 now, and my oldest is 30, and they're still like that. They are up at the wee hours of the morning and get back to sleep, and now you have to wait. So it's important to make sure that things are made traditions, I guess.
I'm going to call you at 5 a.m. on Christmas.
I have a silencer.
Thanks for your memories. Good to see you. Merry Christmas. I'll talk to you at 5 a.m.
You bet.
Usually when I sit down to have conversations with Lance Dahl from Chat 94.5, 5:30 to 10, Monday to Friday, we really just talk about music and baseball.
It's true. It's true.
So do you think that we could actually have a grown-up, mature conversation about Christmas memories?
Well, we could try. We're going to try.
Okay, so what Christmas memory comes to mind? Let's start with the easy question. What Christmas memory comes to mind?
Yeah, it would have to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 8 or 9 years old. And
So a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, just last year. And we were in the middle of like video games really starting to rise, like the PlayStation 2 were coming through. And my cousin and I really wanted, I think it was like a wrestling game or something.
Okay.
And so my grandma went above and beyond. Every single year, up to even like this coming year, she'll bring us socks. She, this one year, cut the bottom out from the package of socks, stuffed the game inside of it, and then sewed it back up and stapled it. And so we didn't know the game was in there until we get home and open up the socks like a week later, and all of a sudden there's this game tucked inside the socks. I'll never forget that.
So she never prodded you at all? Maybe you want to open the socks? She never said, make sure you open the socks when you get home? None of that? It was actually a week later?
Yeah, she wanted just to leave it and see how it goes, because we were always nice to say thank you. I mean, now I love getting socks every single year. So it was just one of those things at the time where she said, yeah, you know, there's your socks. It's all good. And then we still had another gift that we got on top of it, but we didn't know that the game was tucked in there until later on. So.
What was her response when you inevitably got back to her and said, Grandma, you rock?
Well, she was wondering if we were actually going to wear the socks. She's like, you got to make sure you wear the socks now. Of course, when you're 8, 9 years old, socks aren't that incredible, but
No.
but they are now. I appreciate them now more than I ever have.
My godmother Barbie used to send me $5 for Christmas every year, and my parents used to make me send her a thank you note because we didn't live in the same city. And I hated doing it, but that was a lesson I'll never forget, the fact that you have to say thank you and let people know that you're appreciative for what you get.
So all the time. I mean, it didn't matter if it was socks or if it was something inside or whatever it was, even if it was just a card. I mean, that's been the biggest thing. That's kind of what I've learned through like my family growing up every single year is that I'm lucky that we're able to get together every single year. This will be a little bit different, but I've been really fortunate that way. And so to have the kind of family setting and being able to really appreciate each other's company and the thoughtfulness that goes into gifts, it's gone a long way.
Happy holidays to you and the
Thanks, buddy,
family.
you too.
Say hi to Grandma.
Will do. Thank you.
In addition to talking sports with Lance, I also talk sports with Brian Conrad, who you can hear also on the radio, and sometimes hear him talking to me on Chat News at noon. Yelling at me off camera. I love to talk to you about so many topics. You are such a fountain of wealth, of resources and information, because you're only a couple of years older than I am, and that shirt is probably a couple of years older than I am as well. Gordie Howe?
Gordie Howe. Christmas probably about 1960.
Wow.
Everybody wanted either a Leafs or a Canadiens jersey. I was a Red Wings fan because my dad was a Red Wings fan.
Okay.
This probably came through the Sears catalog. It's been worn. I don't think I could fit into it anymore.
And we won't make you try, but how do you still have that? How does that last?
Because it meant so much to me. It's wool. That tells you how old it is.
Yeah.
I wore it at every imaginary hockey game on the street when I was Gordie Howe. My son actually wore it too when Chris Osgood brought the Stanley Cup to Medicine Hat in 1997. So, yeah,
wow.
It's a long time Christmas relic. I think I got a hockey stick that went with it too. The hockey stick didn't survive. I think last I saw it, it was a tomato stake in my mother's garden.
That's fantastic, but these cards and albums that you brought in, these are even older, aren't they?
They are. Some of them are over 100 years old. They belong to my great-grandparents and my grandparents. Classic art. They came from the Victorian era, which I guess when Christmas cards really began.
Yeah.
They were a quick way for people to communicate. In the days before internet and telephones, postcards, Christmas cards at Christmas time were a tradition. I can remember my mother sitting down weeks before Christmas to write out her letters and stuff.
Yeah.
You had a list, a book of people that you needed to communicate with. You kept in touch with your family. And when you got the Christmas cards in from other people, there was a string in the living room, and they would go on the string, and sometimes you had to put another string on another wall because you got so many.
This was the first year that I can remember that I didn't do Christmas cards. Usually I'll do 200, 300. I think I did 285 last year. I just didn't do it this year. But I'm the same with you. A Christmas card meant something, which is why I still send them out. They mean something.
Well, they're tangible. You took the time to sit down and work on it. It wasn't just something you typed out on a keyboard and, hi, have Merry Christmas, hope everything's good.
Or a stamp.
Yeah.
Put a stamp on there. Does one, and I mean, these are all great memories, does one Christmas memory come to mind other than being Gordie Howe on the
I
streets?
can remember one year, I was maybe 8 or 9 years old. Of course, my sister and I on Christmas Eve would be very excited, hard to sleep, so we would be in my room, you know, waiting, and out in the street we heard a ho, ho, ho. And that, to this day, is still the most authentic ho, ho, ho I ever heard.
That's beautiful, buddy. Listen, Merry Christmas to you and the family, and recently became a grandfather again.
Yep, 7 now.
7. So there's a lot to celebrate this year.
Yep.
Enjoy, and thanks for bringing all this in.
You're welcome. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Welcome back to Chat News Holiday Memories, and it's my privilege to be sitting down with a man that you don't get to see all that often on Chat Television. Chris Brown is our digital journalist, so he puts the portal together, which the portal, the website this year has been doing fairly well. So would you say that people are more interested in the news, or are you just that good?
I think there's a lot of big news happening this year, specifically COVID and the U.S. election. That helped a lot, honestly. I wish I could take all the credit.
You're just that good. You're just that good, I think. I'm really pleased that you brought in the moose sweater. You know, we've had Scott's ugly Christmas sweater on with his Calgary Flames thing. So you really have a good sweater. So I'm glad that you took the time to dress up. Christmas is our focus today, and the holidays. When I say Christmas memories to you, what automatically comes to mind?
A lot of time with families, and I think cliche as it may be, gifts that I've gotten are always important. There's some that just stick with you, and for me, I know a lot of people say they're a really easy person to buy me anything, but I think for me that's actually true. I can narrow it down a little bit. If you buy me anything that has anything to do with Wayne Gretzky, I'm going to be happy about it, and that's been true since I was 3 years old and continues to be true in 2020.
Well, that Wayne Gretzky rookie card that just sold for $1 million, guess who bought it? Not me.
Had my hopes up.
I've always enjoyed talking with you about Wayne Gretzky because I love him just as much as I do. And where does that Gretzky love come from for you?
I honestly don't know. From even before I can remember, the best I can imagine, it would have been. I was born in '81, so in the early '80s, mid '80s, I probably heard a lot about Wayne Gretzky just on TV and on the radio and that sort of stuff. And probably sat down on Saturday nights and watched Hockey Night in Canada, and that was that. And it's just continued on, even 21 years now after he's retired.
Now, do you remember one or any Gretzky Christmas presents that you've received over the years?
I remember quite a few. I remember, as a teenager, it would have been a couple of video games that had his name on it. Even a few years before that, I got a tabletop hockey game.
Oh, yeah.
I really enjoyed that one. But the one that actually sticks out for me most is just a few years ago, since I've got my own house now and family. I've got a bit of a man cave going on, and you can imagine it's populated with Wayne Gretzky things.
Good.
And a couple of years ago, I think probably 3-4 years ago, I was in a place, it was called Cottonwood Gallery in the mall. They used to sell a lot of memorabilia sort of stuff. And some of them, I was apparently in there with my daughter one day, and she must have seen me look at this huge, probably 4 foot wide, 3 foot high, framed photo of Gretzky, and it was also with Bobby Orr, Gordie Howe, and Mary Lemieux. So it was always one of those things I would look at, and it was too expensive for me to buy on my own, but my daughter must have noticed me looking at it one day, and she would have been 16, 17-ish at the time, had a part-time job, not a lot of disposable money, but she started saving up a lot of money, and all of a sudden that was there under the tree for me on Christmas Day, and that meant a lot that she, took money that she could have spent on herself and bought that for me.
You know what shocks me is you and I have really only worked together for 9 months, because you came in after the year started here, but it feels like we've worked together forever. You've very quickly become a great part of my family, and I'm glad that we're friends, and happy holidays to you and the family, and thanks for everything this year. It's been great having you around.
I feel the exact same way, Dan. Thank you very much.
All right, my next guest, no energy at all, usually pretty down. So we wanted to save her toward the end of the show so she didn't kill the mood, as I like to say. Chantal Wagner,
Hi.
I have never seen you depressed or upset. You're a very happy person, and part of me believes that that comes from how much you love this time of year.
That's right. I love Christmas. Really, thanks to my mom and dad for making Christmases so special for my sister and I, and just getting together with family, our cousins, grandma and grandpa, all in Saskatchewan.
Yeah. I was gonna say, did having these Christmases in Saskatchewan, where I lived many years, and Saskatchewan people are fantastic, as are people from Alberta, but do you think you would have had the same Christmases had you grown up somewhere else?
Saskatchewan, even when I go home for Christmas, it's still that same Christmas vibe of going home and just seeing, you know, your family who you do see. So I think it'd be a little different, and yeah, maybe the roads are better here during Christmas. But
yes. Every Christmas I can have without permafrost is a great Christmas for me. As far as gifts are concerned, what do you remember giving or receiving as a child, or even recently, that meant something to you at Christmas?
yeah, well, my sister and I, we always asked for Barbies. That was our big thing.
Okay.
So yes, Santa always, you know, got us our favorite Barbie, our top Barbie of the year. And
it's amazing how Santa knew.
I know, he knows everything.
Wow.
So we were very good. So yes, we did get the special Barbie we wanted.
Was there ever a year where he got it mixed up? Your sister got your Barbie and you got hers?
Santa was always right.
Santa knows all. Santa's
does.
brilliant. Is that a tradition that that you continue now? Is there still a Barbie factor to your Christmas every year?
Just looking back at our memories of receiving them, and our mom and dad, they still have the basement full of Barbies that are now in Rubbermaids that are still being stored there at home. So thank you, Mom and Dad.
Basement full of Barbies would make a great Christmas song. Well, this Christmas is going to be different for a lot of people, including you, but I hope you still find something about it that you can call your own.
Thanks, Dan. You too.
Well, of all the interviews we had on the show, this is the one that I'm most nervous about, not just because Dave Sherwood is our boss, our general manager, but because you're the one who probably has had the closest Christmas as I had, because we moved around a lot as kids, both myself and yourself and your family, and I spent many Christmases in various places across Canada and many around the world. You've had Christmases in Canada and in England. For me, the moving didn't really shape the Christmas that we had in the house because it was always the same family. But there's definitely many differences. What do you remember the most about having so many different Christmases?
I think the thing we have in common is that, yes, with us it was very much family too, even if we were in different places. The only Christmas I can't really remember as a child seeing grandparents and stuff was the one year we were in England.
Okay.
And that was a very different Christmas, and this was back, gosh, in the 1960s. So, and I was 9 years old. So, you didn't see quite the commercialization of Christmas back then in England. And it was very Father Christmas instead of Santa Claus, and there was no trees to speak of, Christmas trees and that sort of thing. So
there was probably not much snow either.
No, not in. We were in Yorkshire, so it was a little bit more than you'd see in South England, but it wasn't a big. The snow wasn't big in England, so.
So we both traveled around, but we both had our family there at Christmas. What is your favorite Christmas memory?
Oh gosh, so many. We tended to spend when I was a child Christmas with my father's parents.
Okay.
Who were initially in Winnipeg, and then eventually moved out to the coastal BC. And they were on the Red River in south of Winnipeg.
Okay.
And just the most amazing Christmas for a child. My grandmother was a small, giggly Ukrainian woman who loved cooking pierogies. So we'd always have pierogies as one meal during the Christmas break.
Sounds beautiful.
There's always a jigsaw puzzle being done on a table somewhere. There was always, my father was a classical music fan, so Handel's Messiah at some point would be booming through the house off an LP. But very much my sister and I were the two grandchildren, so we were spoiled quite definitely during those times. So very, very happy times, both in Winnipeg, where it was obviously pretty cold during the winter, and after they moved out to the Sunshine Coast in Vancouver, it'd be one of those gray, damp coastal Christmases.
Wow.
With a very loving family and lots of fun. Always my aunt lived with my grandparents, so there was always her cat around too.
Yeah.
We'd spoil, and of course things you do. There was always one movie we all watched, which was the Christmas Carol with Alistair Sim, the 1951 black and white version.
Yeah.
We all gathered around the television for that. That was always everybody's favorite. Probably there's a lot more new Christmas movies, but we always went with that old timer. So.
That's a great one. And Jesse is coming up to talk Christmas movies with us, so let's not tell him we talked about that and see if he brings that one up. I bet he won't. I bet he's very, very much more modern.
I'm about 30 years older than him at least, so I doubt he'll know.
So I've been the one that's been wishing everybody Merry Christmas on behalf of Chat and the Pattinson Broadcast Group, so why don't I let you take a moment to do that now so that it officially comes from the company and not just the guy that's on TV every night.
Well, thanks, Dan. I appreciate it. It's been a tough year for everybody with COVID and everything, and all I can say is, we may not be able to do everything we want to do during this Christmas season, but, do try to get the love across to you and your family, and even if you're not in person visiting them as we normally do, and I'm in the same situation with some of my family, make sure that they know that they're loved, and that once we're past this holiday season, we'll try to get together and have a good time. So please, try to have a good time this holiday season. Realize it's not a normal year, but do the best we can.
And say thank you for watching Chat TV.
And thank you for watching Chat TV.
Dave Sherwood, everybody. One thing we do every holiday season, no matter where we're from, no matter who we love, no matter how we spend the time, is watch holiday movies. And so Jesse Christensen has joined me to do just that before we shut things down this year. Jesse Christensen, who you can hear with Lance Monday to Friday from 5:30 until 10. Christmas movies. Have you been going extra crazy this year, or is this year about the same as everyone?
I think this year, since we're at home a lot more, we're watching way more than we usually do.
Okay, and what have you been watching so far this year?
Well, I mean, you got to go with the classics. The National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
Classic.
The Scrooged.
The Bill Murray Scrooge.
Yeah, you have to watch that
Absolute
one.
classic.
It
Yeah,
is so
absolute.
great.
But you're not watching Scrooge with your daughter.
No. That one's like an after hours one. The thing is, it's great because with kiddo, we've kind of had this resurgence of Christmas again. Like we're watching all the old school, the Charlie Browns, the Muppet Christmas, the Grinch. Actually got her to watch the old cartoon Grinch. She doesn't like it as much as the new cartoon Grinch with Benedict Cumberbatch. But still, the Grinch itself is amazing.
Every generation has their Grinch.
Yeah.
Whether it's the 30-minute Christmas special that we all watched for years, whether it's the Jim Carrey version or any of the other ones that are out there, everybody has their own Grinch. And I think that's fantastic. Same with the Christmas Carol. Do you even remember there was a Mr. Magoo version of Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol?
No.
Oh, check that one out.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It does seem like every 3-4 years there is a remake of A Christmas Carol, a different rendition of it anyways.
Yeah. Now, what was your favorite Christmas movie when you were the age of the kiddo? Did you have one?
It was probably The Muppets Christmas Carol was one that we watched over and over again. And then National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. I feel like every year I get older, the more I understand and relate to it a little bit more.
Okay. The Muppets. You relate more to the Muppets every year.
That and National Lampoon. I mean, 2020, it could be either or.
One that you didn't mention, which is going to be on TV 24 hours a day, nonstop until at least February, is A Christmas Story.
Oh,
Ralphie
I mean,
and A Christmas Story.
That one's a classic too. The pink bunny suit, and you'll shoot your eye out, kid. That was not one that was always on the list like a must-have. It was there. It was there, yeah. And this will be a hot take as well. Elf was not really one that I would watch either. The Will Ferrell one?
Oh, sure.
Because there's a little too much Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
But I would even go into the non-traditional Christmas ones, the Lethal Weapons, the Home Alones, the Die Hards I just watched the other night. Technically Christmas, not based on Christmas. I still call them Christmas movies.
That's what I want to end with. Is, in your opinion, my movie-watching friend, is Die Hard a Christmas movie?
It is, because it takes place at a Christmas party. John McClane's wife is Holly. Holly Jolly Christmas.
Yeah.
He dresses up the one bad guy as Santa Claus, where he says, now I have a machine gun, ho, ho, ho. It snows at the end. I mean, it's Los Angeles. When does it ever snow in Los Angeles? Christmas movie.
Well, and if you ever sit down and watch Die Hard 2 again, in the airport, notice the palm trees. It's not really Los Angeles. Happy holidays.
You too, buddy.
Those are our holiday memories. Thank you for taking the time to watch, and thank you to everybody that joined me here on the show and shared their memories. Everybody was very open and honest, and I appreciate it. We also appreciate the fact that you take the time to choose chat Monday to Friday at noon and 5 o'clock. Thank you for doing that. And before we go, we filmed this entire Christmas special following government protocols. The masks were only off of our faces while we were filming, the chairs were cleaned in between guests, and everybody used hand sanitizer the whole time. And with that, here's to a 2021 that is easier on us all. Happy holidays. I think these were meant for me.